Hello everyone, welcome back to Apex Wilderness Adventures. I'm your host, Luke Boothman. Today we're just going to wrap up the Adventure Park Trigger Handler and the trigger, the handler, and the helper, and kind of the road that we went down to get where we're at. So we're going to kind of take a look back. So this is the beginning state of the code that we had. We had some code that wasn't too bad in some ways. We started our handler with the before update, and then we went to before insert. We had code inside of it that was doing some work, which we still kind of do it, but we just do it a little bit differently. We have our after insert where there was, the creation of these accounts, the creation of the product all happening at the same time. So we were doing a lot more inside the handler because there wasn't a helper, right? If we look back at our code here, in the old days, there was just the helper had only one single method. And the handler was doing things that were related to the helper as well as the handler type code. And then we had the trigger itself, and it had some comments here that we were wondering what they did. We were calling this service appointment handler class directly. We had these empty blocks that we could keep or lose, but we ended up getting rid of. And this is 134 lines. This is 48 lines. This is only 19. And now our trigger, when we look at this, we know exactly what's going on. Just at a glance, you can understand what's happening. And if you were to add more code to this, you would know right where to put it. Same with this. It's when you fold everything up, it's ordered and structured really nicely and neatly. And the point of it isn't necessarily like that we're, arbitrarily or theoretically trying to make it look a certain way. The goal is, and it comes down to readability, understandability, maintainability, and testability. And this code is easy to test, it's easy to understand, and it's easy to read. Why? Because it follows a consistent design. On each one, like we looked at last time, we have a structure. The trigger, handler, helper is a design pattern for Salesforce. It's the simplest type of design pattern that you could possibly do when it comes to having a trigger framework. It's not a true framework. It doesn't have any bells and whistles. We don't have recursion control. We don't have certain things in place that could be. It's not very configurable. For example, I couldn't turn this on or turn it off. But for what it is and for what some orgs need out there, this is great. So what we've done is we've really understood truly what is the trigger, handler, helper design, and how can we refactor the code towards that design. So what we're going to do now moving forward is we have a few more trigger, handlers, and helpers and code to work through. We have lead, park of interest, park tour, and temp lead. So we're going to continue, working our way through this code base. And, at this point, I would encourage you to go through, if you haven't already, if you weren't actually coding while watching these videos, to begin to do this refactoring work. This is really great because, this environment, it's an unlocked package. You can install the Apex Wilderness into your org that you create. The README tells you how to do it. I think we went over it in the first video. And you can make mistakes. You can try things out. You can experiment. And you can get your hands dirty with refactoring where you really can't do that in the real world. It's just too dangerous to really kind of get your hands-on experience with this. And so when you do it in the real world, there's a lot more risk involved with it. So when you become skilled at this, when you have to do it in the real world, you're going to feel a lot more confident that you're going to know what to do and how to do it. So, and you can rewatch these videos, you can give this yourself a try, and see if you can work through getting the trigger, handler, helper, as well as the test into a state where it's formed correctly. The trigger worries about the trigger context. Is it before? Is it after? Is it insert? Is it update? It passes off the code directly in the trigger with a new map, an old map to a handler. And then the handler's only job is to understand conditions. What is the conditions? What is the entrance criteria for us? And then we're going to collect the data that we need, and then we're going to pass that data into the helper. And the helper is where the real work happens. This is where we actually, set the price books, where we create them from the parks, where we create related data, where we do the actual work involved when our automation runs. And then finally, our unit tests are composed with really straightforward descriptive names, not test data 1, test data 2, the actual, name of that's describing what this test is for. And it's composed with a given, when, then form, where our given is the data that we need to create, when is the event that happens, and then the then is what we expect to happen, our assertions. And our assertions have teeth. We're not just adding assertions because we have to, and we're not leaving them out, God forbid. We have assertions that actually matter, because these assertions will save our bacon when it comes to us refactoring our test and for making changes in the future. We want strong unit tests. So I think that's where we're going to leave it. And the direction we're going in, like I said, from here on out, is we're going to continue the same process over the course of these different objects and their trigger code. And once we've finished everything, at that point, we'll be ready to talk about a real trigger framework. And we're going to choose one, and then we're going to see what it's going to take to refactor our code towards that. And as you might guess, because of all the groundwork we're doing now, it's actually very trivial. While it took 11 videos or 10 videos for us to go through Adventure Park Trigger Refactoring, when it comes time to take all of these different trigger handler helper classes and move them towards an enterprise scale trigger framework, it may take a couple videos. It's much, much faster and much easier to deal with cleaned code. So I hope that helps, and I hope you guys have enjoyed this. We have a long ways to go. We have a lot of refactoring to do. Get your hands dirty, get some practice in, make some mistakes, learn how hard it really is whenever you're starting to do this kind of stuff, and then develop the skills to set yourself apart from all the other Apex developers who don't do this, who just write sloppy code and push it forward, and then someone has to clean up with it. So be the one that knows how to clean it up, and you'll be extremely valuable in any company that you work for. All right, I think that's it for now. And next time we're going to jump into one of these bad boys. I'm not sure which one yet, but we're going to see. And we'll keep it going forward. So thanks a lot and have a great day. Bye-bye.